the show after the one that you listened to last time, but not before the one that we haven't done yet.
That's right. It's episode 60.
Have you looked?
Ask me, Phil, quickly, Phil.
Okay, I will say that I might have alluded to this previously, but I've now got a few more details on the Hot Pocket remix of Dark Souls that's on the PC. And it's the thing that...
I'm sorry, you need to... Hot Pocket remix?
Hot Pocket remix, yeah. It's the thing that I saw Lobos Jr. doing on Twitch, and it's on YouTube as well. And basically, you go through the asylum, you defeat the asylum demon, you walk up to the giant doors, and it basically says the key turns in the lock. It's something like the key turns in the lock, sealed by an ancient magic, and then it just goes like really silent. You approach it again, and it says that you're confronted by an ancient magic of a dark dragon. And basically, it puts the red eye sort of symbol above your head, and it shatters.
Calamity.
Yeah, and it shatters the Estus flask.
Oh no!
And it's he was doing and basically you can get rid of the red eye by defeating Calamite. But you.
Oh, is this what Lobos is doing?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think you only get the Estus flask back when you defeat Ornstein and the Smoke.
Fuck me!
And that's the one he was doing with the
randomizer as well.
Yeah, when you find it, you can use it. So yeah, I saw I was watching because I tuned in on the second episode, I think it was, and I was watching it on that, but I hadn't seen the thing that sets it up. But it said, I wish this sort of stuff had come to consoles. To be honest, that it's this kind of mod community that really. I don't know. It really makes me jealous that I'm not playing Dark Souls on PC because that sounds really exciting.
I've never played it. I've got it on the PC now. Like I picked it up in a sale somewhere a while ago. Yeah, just for the sake of having it. But I've never actually installed it. I wanted to play it. Did you ever see the Limbo mod that came out a while ago? It was like it makes the world black and white, and the stuff near the camera is black, and the stuff far away from the camera is white, and it makes everything look just like spooky fog.
Okay. No,
it looks gorge, mate. It looks gorge.
Do you remember a while ago
really
when
nice.
I was saying about Sam that used to work at Video Gamer, where he was saying like it's a shame that you're not able to go pre-patch on stuff, and whilst he was alluding to some of the ridiculous stuff that happened in Sleeping Dogs when that first launched, I was thinking more like, it'd be really cool for people to play Dark Souls before. The first patches came in, or if there was the Journo build. And whilst someone rightly pointed out to Twitter, you really just need to maybe have your 360 or your PS3 offline, and then reinstall the game, and not look for updates if it's not plugged in and stuff. And you can pretty much do that, but. Don't know. I think it'd be quite a curiosity just to be able to go into a menu and just go. Right, I'll do a run with that build now, or
legacy mode, please.
Yeah, I just think it'd be kind of cool,
Yeah, that'd be cool. It's episode 68.
Is it?
Yeah.
God, I thought
the last one.
Thought my computer was slow, or were you just being polite?
No, I was being polite. I was letting you finish. Do you remember what the last episode was called?
Was it the Pinoidity?
That was Pinedo. He was before. This one was wooden sausage.
Wooden sausage, of course it was.
Because I wrote that on a man's chest to remind myself.
Do you know what's the biggest surprise of this? That we're actually doing 2 episodes quite close to each other.
I know. It's been like a week. That's not right.
Because previously it's just been like, I'm free on this date. I'm like, I'm up at 4 in the morning, and like, okay. And then it's just been sort of strange cross references. And this time it was just like, I can do Saturday night, and I was like, I can do Saturday night. So we've got a few groovy bits to talk about. Primarily, this was inspired by Eurogamer put up a really good vid about the Dark Souls board game.
It's a decent vid. I watched it. I liked it.
where Johnny was explaining it. I thought he explained it very, very eloquently for those of us who
Is
don't
he the nice
play
beard man?
Yes, the nice beard man explained it very eloquently for those people like me that don't play board games. And I thought if there's somebody that's a fan of the Souls games that was watching, and maybe were a little bit like me, that were a little bit intimidated by, as excited and as they were intimidated by the large box of stuff and the lots of rules and the joypad stuff. I thought he explained it really well, and they got Matt Lees in the background as well.
Nice.
Yeah, Matt Lees
hanging out.
Matt Lees was playing with him. So,
cool. Well,
yeah.
if you'd like to have an explanation done in a less good way and take 7 times as long, then prepare your ears for a treat.
Now, you see,
speaking of preparing your ears, now I must confess there may be a little bit of cross noise today. The Digu is still here. He's still running around in a little cage, running around in his wheel. And there's also the last football game of the season is going on. Portsmouth Football Club, which I live next door to. Apparently it's 5-0. Mm-hmm. So it's been a bit loud. And they've been singing, and I shit you not, something tells me I'm into something good.
Okay.
Over and over and over and over and over again. I think I've got the door shut now, so hopefully the noise won't be too bad. But if suddenly it gets very loud, that's because a bunch of people who've been promoted are walking past the outside of my house.
Yeah, but the big word there that you skipped past was prepare.
Yeah, guess what I did?
You prepared, didn't you? You actually wrote some shit down before turning up on an episode.
It's in another shock move. It's not been a month since the last episode, and I've written some notes.
Now you see,
Is this even the same show? This doesn't feel right.
It was just strange.
Should we just fuck this off and come back in a month? I feel like this is wrong. We should hang up. Yeah. I'm going to hang up on Skype. This was bad.
So I was thinking like, it's going to be nice to hear Pad Wexler about his 4 pages of notes and stuff. And then it got to about 6 o'clock, and I was like, I've got a few bits that I can put down with other stuff, with ancillary stuff, and then I started like putting a few bits together, and I was like, "Fuck, we've got a show by accident. Yeah. We're turned up, and we've got a show," which is marvelous.
Show. Shall we begin?
Talk to me
with my new toy. So I got a new toy last week, a new box full of toy. I got the Dark Souls board game.
Right, I have a few questions before we start.
Okay.
Pertaining to the Dark Souls board game, which is... See, I've done a little bit of prep as well. Which is, I don't know, to lay a few tools out in front of us, for those of us that don't play the game, as to kind of your history with the stuff. So, what did you get? What did you get in the box?
Well, this is a large part of my notes, in fact.
Okay, I'll prompt you, and we'll make it seem like...
Do you know what? We're going to reverse back a little bit before we do that.
Oh my God.
I've written a paragraph before that as well, about the background of the board game itself. Okay. Now, the Dark Souls board game, as we all know, came out and exploded on Kickstarter, published by a company called Steamforged Games, who make a game called Guild Ball, which is basically... have you heard of Blood Bowl?
Yeah, because
it's like that.
I grew up around Games Workshop and stuff. Not playing it, but...
Thought you were going to say orcs.
No, yeah. Yeah. Because a lot of the people I went to school with, their parents worked in the Games Workshop factory when all the figures were made of lead. So
nice.
They were basically, if you can imagine,
chewable.
No, like they used to bring loads of like the cast stuffs and stuff to school and just like swap them in the playground and stuff.
Oh, nice.
When they were made of lead, Patrick, not
tasty.
This plastic stuff, lead. That was
sweet, nutritious, vitamin-filled lead.
Back in the day, let me tell you, if the Russians were peeking in on our houses, you wouldn't be able to see fuck all.
Be able to see some sweet boys.
Well, they wouldn't actually, because it blocks out.
No,
I don't know.
That's science. So they make Steamforged Games make Guild Ball, which is a similar sort of thing. It's a fantasy American football type game with humans and orcs and stuff. It seems very cool. It has a very big following, much like Blood Bowl. It's like the two seem to be kind of opposing, but kind of exist nicely alongside each other.
That's cool. Like us and Bonfireside Chat.
Nah, fuck them. No, we love you. Yeah, same sort of thing. They exist alongside each other. There doesn't seem to be much like animosity, I don't think. Because I've been keeping up to date with stuff with my board game magazine. I get tabletop gaming, and it actually had a feature a while ago about Blood Bowl or Guild Ball. Which one should you get? And it's like, well, if you like your games like this, then buy this one. But if you like your games like that, then buy that one. It's
like us and Bonfireside Chat.
Yes.
Sorry.
So it was. So they posted the Kickstarter April 19th of last year.
Oh, was it a year ago? I didn't realise.
It was.
Oh
just
God,
a
it
little over
was
a year ago.
Yeah,
man. It was funded. They were looking for £50,000. Okay. It was funded in 3 minutes.
Yeah, I remember this.
3 minutes.
Because at that point, I was still done up like a shoe from a back operation. So yeah, it was something that I quite fancied jumping on, just simply because of the pretty little things that they added in with it, and it was at that point super Dark Souls fans, so would like to add it to the collection.
Well, we'll get there.
See, I'm in unfamiliar territory here. I'm trying to have a conversation. You're like, I've written that down. I've get to it. Shut up.
Shut it. Shut it, word boy. It's my turn now. So it went on to make £3.7 million. £3.7 million.
It's cray.
And that is even more amazing because of the way that they did it, like the way that they actually put their Kickstarter together. Now, I've looked at quite a lot of board game Kickstarters in the past. I see them put it up here and there. They kind of come up on websites. The lovely Richard Revitar from We're Not Wizards is posting up them every now and again. I have a quick look in and see what's what. The problem with a lot of board game Kickstarters is that when they put it up, they'll be, you'll have the £50 buy-in for the game. Like, this one gets you the core game plus, this Kickstarter bonus exclusive figure that you only get in Kickstarter. And then that's when the bullshit begins, because then you'll be like, oh, for an extra $10, you can make it the advanced version, and we'll give you another better set of cards or something, or some actual metal miniatures. And then for an extra £20, we can put in the expansion pack. And then for an extra £5, we can give you the scenario pack. And it will kind of keep adding on.
Is there a certain point where you just think, right, bye?
Yeah, piss off. Basically, and it'll all be, a lot of it is Kickstarter exclusive, so it's like, you won't get this at retail. You'll buy this, but you can only get this now, and it's this cheap now, and it won't be this cheap ever again. And
do they generally do quite well then, board game Kickstarters?
Board game Kickstarters do amazing. Amazing. A lot of the bigger stuff at the moment has been funded through Kickstarter, and, based off of previews and board games is a big hobby at the minute. It's in a bit of a renaissance at the moment.
I was saying to you a little while ago that I wandered into the city centre and there's a board game cafe here now.
Yeah, they're really cool places to go.
WTF.
We've got just to give you another idea, me and Laura did just buy another expensive board game on Kickstarter, but for the same reasons that we did the Dark Souls one. What the Dark Souls Kickstarter has said is that, we are doing £80 gets you the game, plus whatever shipping it be, depending on where you live. But £80 gets you the game.
And it's a chunky, heavy beast, to be fair, from what I saw from that Eurogame.
It is a beast. And to be fair, when it first, we saw the first box, we're like, it seems like a reasonable amount of stuff, but, £80. But then they said this, every single add-on they do, every single stretch goal, every single bonus thing that they unlock, outside of, the big expansions you could buy, everybody gets everything. So there's none of this, I want to buy the character pack, but I don't think I've got another 10. But I just want this, but I can't afford, but if I buy this, then I might not get this again. Nah, fuck that. They've put every single extra add-on in with the main pledge, and also, it won't cost you any more money, and all these things will be available at retail to buy afterwards. There is no Kickstarter exclusive in this whole thing.
Wow. So all of these, because the extras are like the miniatures, aren't they, and stuff? Or is there expansions as well?
Oh, boy, howdy. Let me just turn over my note page here.
Are we on to page 2 or 4?
We're actually still on page 1. I turned it for effect there, but I'm going to turn it back
See
now,
the lies that I put up with, listeners.
I'm trying to make it look awesome, and you're ruining it.
See the lies, viewer, looking in through my window as I point towards the screen at nothing but his
I can feel it.
icon.
Oh, it hurts. Ow. So basically the Kickstarter really went well. But again, think £80 but they made 3.7 million quid. Like, they sold like 30,000 copies of this board game. And there was a retailer pledge, which was like £200 would get you 6 copies if you could, if you were a shop. So you get 6 copies in to sell. There were...
so that means it's on sale in shops?
Soon.
Ooh.
Because it literally only came into my house last week. So it's on its way out into shops. So
I remember you tracking it and many other people tracking it and trying to figure out...
It's a nightmare, mate.
When
the
it
tracking
would be
updates... The tracking updated overnight to have all of it done. Like, oh, it's here now. Oh, cool. Brilliant. It turned up at work on my day off. Like, bollocks.
It always does that.
Every fucking time, I swear to God. I just want to be there when it turns up so I can pick up my box, I can look at it on my lunch break and then take it home and then just devour it all night. That's all I want.
You can
but
look
no,
at your box
I had to make a special trip. I had to make a special trip into work on my next day off to go get it. Like, it was... I guess I'm walking to work, aren't I? I can't leave this till Friday. I have to get it on Thursday. Whoops. So, what do you get in the box? Was your question before.
What do you get in the box?
So, in the box, so when you unbox the opening of the box, right?
Yeah.
This is quite a nice touch. You open the box up, and the first thing you see is a little paper insert on the top. Big black piece of paper. It says, "You died."
Okay.
Good start, cool. I thought. Nice little start. Like, oh, here we go. This is what game we've got. I get it. So, you get in the box a shitload of things. From the start, okay, the game comes with 2 main bosses, okay, including plastic miniatures and cards and tokens and all sorts of shit. The 2 main bosses of the game are the Dancer of the Boreal Valley from Dark Souls 3 and Ornstein and Smough. And there are delightful, large miniatures of each one. And when I say large, I mean like Smough is like 4 inches tall.
Cool.
He's a big boy, and that miniature has weight to it. Like, they look stunning.
Are you going to keep them as they are, or are you tempted to paint them? And what is your ability with painting? Are you good?
I am not good, but I want to paint them, so I have actually purchased, over the last couple of months, odd board game bits here and there so I can practice my painting. So I've got a shitload of minis from like crap old D&D games to play with and paint up to get better. In theory, it should be easy, because like Smough is gold.
Yeah, there's a lot of jeopardy though in there. Surely just making them look like super good. Or you just
well, worst comes to worst, I can boil them off. Yeah, worst comes to worst,
true,
I'll boil them off.
True.
So, but I have some people I know that are good at that, so they can give me tips.
Cool.
But I think I'm okay. I was doing all right, and these figures are bigger than what I was doing before. I was doing my Judge Dredd figures before, and they're like an inch high, and they're really like fiddly.
Yeah.
These are bigger and chunkier and have more weight, so I think I'll have less of a problem with these because they look, they're a bit more solid. Chunky. Solid. So you get 2 bosses, and Ornstein and Smough are their own separate creature, so each one gets its own base. There are 4 mini-bosses you get in the game, 2 from Dark Souls 1, 2 from Dark Souls 3. We have the Belfry Gargoyle, which is absolutely stunning.
Yeah, I saw that in the vid.
It's dead on. Cool. A Titanite Demon, which is absolutely stunning.
Even with a little kind of engraving on its sort of neck as well.
I think someone said to me, like, is his head missing? Like, no, it's supposed to be like that. This is fine.
No, you should have said, I think it might be somewhere in the box. Can you check it for me? Just walked out of the room.
Just left. Like, is it this red cube? Yeah, it's the red cube. Yeah, it's the red cube.
Stick a dice on your head.
And you get 2 Dark Souls 3 mini-bosses. You get the Winged Knight, which is the big fat guy with the halberd that you find pimping around at the start. And you get the Outrider Knight, which is the one with the glowing blue sword that's a bit Artorius-y that you find underneath the cathedral after Onion Bro.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Him, yeah. So they're the mini-bosses. So the way it works is you fight a mini-boss, and then you reset the board, and you fight a main boss. So you kind of work your way up to it. You also get, in the box, again, with plastic figures and all the stuff that comes with them, 4 player characters based on classes from the game. They're based on the Dark Souls 3 incarnation of the characters. You get the Knight, who's all about blocking. You get the Warrior, who's all about hitting. You get the Assassin, who's all about dodge rolling and stabbing. And you get the Herald, who seems to be more of a support class. You get boards with them as well, which you can kind of basically track your progress. They're kind of very punch-out cardboard boards as well. So there's lots of tiny holes you can put wooden cubes into to kind of dictate how much health and stamina or where your levels are as well. They've got an equipment bar on the side, which is very similar to the kind of the 4-slot thing at the bottom of every Souls game, in the bottom left, where you can see weapon 1, weapon 2, item, and the other thing. Whereas the other thing in this one is your armor. So you get weapon, armor, and then another bonus thing, which is kind of cool. And it looks like the part. It's dead on. And all the pictures on the cards all have the item, the actual item pictures as well, which is kind of nifty. Like it's very, very authentic. They've taken the license. They've used it really, really well.
Are the people behind it fans of Dark Souls, I take it?
Oh, for true. There's no way they could have made it this good and not been. Like it's good. Like you open it up and the whole thing, like, it bleeds Dark Souls. It's like this is good. Like, they've done a good job here. So you get 4 player characters with all the bits that come with them. You get 16 enemy figures to play with in a variety of boys. You get I think 3 hollow soldiers with swords. You get 3 hollow crossbow guys. You get 3 silver knights. You get 3 silver knight bowmen. You get 2 of the hulking hollow, which is a big hollow with an axe from Dark Souls 3.
Okay.
And you get 2 of the giant sentinels from Anor Londo. The big ones.
Sweet. They
are tall. I think they're the tallest mini in the box. Like, they are big, big boys. And you get 2 of those, and you can fight 2 at once, and it is horse shit. So you get all of those. You get packs and packs and packs and packs of cards. Treasure cards, legendary treasures, class treasures, transposed class treasures, which are better stuff for your class. You get AI decks for all the bosses. You get AI cards for all the regular guys as well. You get, I think, 8 boards to play on, all double-sided, so every game you play will be different, like with node setups all around them. So, like, the box is full. Like, this is a solid, chunky box, and it comes in. So when you open it up, obviously you look at all your tiny plastic boys first, because that's the most important bit, and then you take out your pieces of cardboard and you punch out all the tiny bits of cardboard, and it's satisfying. Just sitting there going boink, boink.
With regards to the stuff that's in the box, do you have a big table? Because it looked like on the Eurogame video, like they got about 3 tables just like smashed together.
You need a big table. Like, my table is big enough.
Will the floor do?
The floor would probably do. You'd be okay. My table is big enough, and with four people. No pets. No.
Just like you think you're doing well, and like your cat just like smashes into you.
Just Rabbit bounces past and grabs Ornstein. No, bring him back. He's special. Don't eat him. I am actually terrified of them getting damaged and nibbled on. So they all go back in their box at the end of every play session. It's very scary to me, the thought of anything getting at them. But yeah, man, basically, like, so the stuff in the box, like, everything is such high quality. The cards are made, like, really, really well put together. They look beautiful. They feel nice to hold. They're kind of mini cards as well. They're like half size, so you get like a good couple of hundred cards to play with, various treasures and bonuses and things. There's like Titanite shards and the legendary set of weapons. You've got things like the Drake sword in there and the Avalyn, and they're all like stupidly powerful. So if you get lucky and kind of find them, you're like, oh, everybody's getting fucked. So the stuff in the box is beautiful. Like, it's no joke, like one of the best put together games that I own. Like, it's high quality. For £80 on its own, it's like, all right, this is pretty good. Like, this is nice. But then there's more. So there's a bunch of stuff. So what's turned up so far with everybody in their houses is the core game, which is what was the main pledge. The £80, here's the main box. This is the core pledge. So that's what's turned up. Still to come are many, 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 many more things. Starting off, we have the player character expansion pack. And what that is, basically, is the rest of the 10 classes that you can choose from Dark Souls 3, with a character mini and a character board to play with, and the cards that come along with them. So we're going to be getting minis and boards for a Pyromancer, the Cleric, the Thief, the Mercenary, the Sorcerer, and the Deprived.
Cool.
So you'll be able to choose from one of 10 different dudes to play your game with, rather than the 4 the box comes with. Not that there's anything wrong with the 4 the box comes with. They're well balanced for the game, but to be able to play it as like a Pyromancer, or like do the Brave Boy Deprived run, I think that'd be kind of fun. So that's all coming. That's a pack that's coming soon. We also have the game's core expansion, the core video game expansion. This comes with. I'm going to start at the bottom and work up, because you're going to be excited.
Okay.
It starts with plastic.
That's an
it starts
interesting
with
way to put it. I'm going to start from the bottom and work my way up. You're going to be excited. Sounds like a carry-on film.
Hey, internet, take that out of context.
Yeah.
So, in the box, you get plastic versions of some of the room tokens that you would use, so you can make your game more, chunky and real. These include barrels that can be smashed, chests, which can be opened, gravestones, which give you hints for the boss, a little plastic bonfire you can use as well, just, to make it look nice. It's going to come with a bunch of firebomb hollows, like the one from the Undead Burg. It's going to come with 3 Silver Knight Lancers, which is the guys with the spears. It's going to have Sir Alon in it.
Ooh.
And it's going to have as a full boss the Pursuer.
Interesting.
Which is nice, isn't it? And that's going to be, again, these are all going to come as models with all the shit you need to play them in the game as well.
Oh, the Pursuer one's going to be nice.
Then, there's another expansion. This is the Iron Keep expansion.
Okay.
The Iron Keep expansion comes, and again, I'm going to start at the bottom. A pair of crystal lizards.
Okay.
Mimics. Okay. It's 3 ironclad turtle boys.
Cool.
It's going to have a bunch of Alon Knights, so you're going to get the Alon Sword Knights.
Cool.
3 Knight Captains, and 3 Bow Guys. So that's another, 9 Alon boys. And it's going to come with a Smelter Demon boss.
Sweet.
And that boy is going to look great as a mini.
It.
So that's another one.
Yeah.
Then there's another set. This is the armor set expansion. And I'm actually going to open up the Kickstarter page here because I was writing things down. I was starting to get cramped, so I figured I'd just read it off of the page at this point.
You were writing it onto paper rather than maybe using a computer.
I was. Well, I like my notebook. I'm using my fancy Bloodborne notebook, which I use for podcast notes now, and it feels good. I like it. It's smooth and it's.
I take it back.
It's moleskin. So the next set is the armor set expansion, and what these are going to be is not full characters per se, but it's going to be a set of armor cards that will be in the treasure pile. And if you find them and want to equip them, you can then swap out your mini for one with the appropriate set of armor on. What that means is that in the armor set expansion, you get, in minis and card form, you get a Black Knight guy. You get a Stone Guardian. You get the gold-hemmed black set the Pyromancers in Izalith use. You get Havel. You get a Dark Wraith. You get the Crimson set of the guys that sealed Anor Londo.
Oh,
you get the Adventurous set of Domhnall of Xena with the cool horn hat. You get Black Iron Tarkus. You get a Siegmeyer.
This sounds like the greatest game show that I've
and
ever seen.
Special bonus for me, you get a Lautrec.
Cool.
I'm going to have a tiny Lautrec that I'm going to paint gold and then stare at for the rest of my life.
And kick off things.
So that's amazing. Then,
yeah.
there's another pack.
Tell me about it.
Again, this is all so far. This is £80 has done all of this so far.
This is crazy.
We're not done.
I wish I could have afforded that at the time.
It is ridiculous. Like, it is a joke how much stuff is coming. So in the Invaders expansion is the next one. And that's going to come with its own rules, and it's going to come out itself, so you'll be able to have invaders come into your game and fight you in your levels. The Invaders pack comes with, you get a Kirk, Knight of Thorns, you get a Man-Eater Mildred, you get a Xanthus King, Jeremy Greer, you get a Paladin Leroy, you get a Marvellous Chester, okay.
Cool.
You get Melinda the Butcher, which I believe is the one from Dark Souls 3.
Okay.
You get a little Maldron the Assassin from the Dark Souls 2 DLC. Armourer Dennis from Dark Souls 2. Oliver the Collector.
These are my boys.
Yeah, and Fencer Sharon as well.
Oh, yes.
So that's good. And you get AI cards and rules to do with that, and they're all going to come with their own stuff and unique AI behaviours you won't see.
Oh, and AI cards, did you say?
Yeah, AI cards, artificial intelligence cards. So you can you basically they work off of the cards as what they do, how they attack you.
Oh right, I'm with you. Sorry, I'm playing this a little bit like a noob.
It's good. We're there. And then the final expansion pack. We're still in £80 territory here. This is still
incredible.
All this.
Yeah.
Okay, is the summoned expansion. So you'll be able to bring in characters like AI characters to help you in the board game. In the summoned expansion, you get Ruined Athlis from Dark Souls 2. The light boy who lit up the dark space in the Forest of Fallen Giants. Yeah, it's him. It's him. You get a Siegward of Katarina. You get Sellsword Lue.
Yes.
Which is the Haveled Up double shield. You get Horus the Hushed from Dark Souls 3. You get a Witch Beatrice with the cool witch set.
Cool.
You get the Swordmaster from Near Firelink in Dark Souls 3, the naked guy with the katana.
All right.
You get Cirrus of the Sunless Realm from Dark Souls 3 as well, who I met once and then never saw again. You get Egon of Karim, the big guy who hangs around with the Miracle Woman. You get Lucatiel. And
my baby.
You get a Solaire as well.
Never mind him. He's done. Lucatiel.
And that is what 80 quid will buy you
Lucatiel,
over the space
though.
of 15 minutes. Isn't it good?
That's
some
really,
of the models
really cool.
have been some of the models have been shown. Like they're updating the thing when they have models available. They're still in pre-production for a lot of this stuff because this thing I think exploded far beyond they expected it to.
Yeah.
It
did kind of come at the right time, though, didn't it? Like when Dark Souls 3 had not long since been out, it was the right time to kind of hit that fever.
And we weren't all bored of it. You know, I think it hit the right time.
100%, yeah.
So, yeah, man. Outside of us, that's all still to come to my house yet. Like I'm still waiting on like 5 more packs of stuff.
Yeah, that's exciting.
And
that's like 5 times Christmas.
I know, mate. I know. And like the fact is, like it's kind of coming out staggered. So, excuse me, little burp. Friend of the show, Sean McElroy, my good pal who lives nearby. He got his 2 days before I got mine, and he lives very nearby. And I was like, well, mine will turn up today then, right? And it didn't.
That must have killed you.
I was panicking. I was like, please hope the sale's gone through. I hope that the payment's gone through okay. And I was checking my bank, like, did it go through? Please let it have gone through.
Didn't know Sean was into board games.
Yeah, he's into Dark Souls board games.
Ah.
Yeah, no, Sean, we've played board games many a time, actually. He's a board gamer.
Interesting.
The problem he's got is the space, because he has it, but he hasn't got a table big enough to play it on.
So, comes round to your house.
He'll come round to my house to play it, and he's just going to look at his nice figures, which, to be honest, the amount of figures you're getting, 80 quid for that, mate. I mean, that comes down to basically £1 a mini at this point. If you even take away everything else, that's £1 per mini. That's a joke. I have it under good authority, actually. Some friends came around to play it 4-player the other night, and I have it on good authority that some of these figures, if you were to buy the equivalent Warhammer boy, 40k boy, they would cost you £40 for a figure. A single figure would cost you 40 quid for ones of this quality. They are good. Like, they are, no joke, good figures. So, excellent value. Then you can go to the add-ons, and this is where you start getting the bits that you can add. You could have added on during the campaign as bonuses. They couldn't chuck in because they were too big, but bonuses you could add on at a reasonable price. So the first ones they had were boss expansions. Okay, mega boss expansions. Now, mega boss expansion is a very large boss. Special tiles for the boss encounter because they're too big to fit on the regular ones. Boss dials to track the damage, AI decks so you can actually make them do stuff, and then treasure cards that come with it as well. The first one they showed was the Gaping Dragon, and I stopped thinking at that point and said yes, because he is my boy. He is my boy, and the mini is in the middle of doing the big chomp where he leans back and he's all like, "Come at me, bro!" before he does the head chomp, drop, blop, blop. This apparently stands around 12 to 15 centimetres tall. That is nonsense. And this thing's like, it's not small. It's wide and it's spread out and it's having a go. So you get him. That's kind of cool, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Guess who they unlock next?
Go on.
Black Dragon Calamite. Looking hot.
Cals.
Looking sexy. Next up, the Guardian Dragon, the Sanctuary Dragon from Dark Souls 2.
Sweet.
Looking all right. You know, it's just a dragon, but it's okay.
It's
next
just
up,
a dragon. Nobody's ever said those words.
But then, but after seeing Calamite, it's like, well,
yeah. Well, Calamite is one of the greatest dragons ever. So
MVP dragon in this one.
Well,
other than the Gaping Dragon. Next up, 4 kings, including 4 king models apparently.
Oh, cool. Hold on.
And they look
drawing the curtains. I'm listening to you, but I am drawing the curtains
on this relationship. And they look great. The minis look brilliant for that. Next up, the Asylum Demon.
Cool.
I actually really want this one. I think that'd be quite a fun boy to have on your shelf. Just a big fat chunk boy. Then they unlock the old Iron King. With big horns and all. And then, finally, of these ones, Vort of the Boreal Valley.
Yeah, I just took a look at that on the Kickstarter.
Look mad, mate.
What a
They
boy.
look really, really nice. And like every boss they've done, like makes sense for it to be a big boss because they're big boys. You know, they all seem like a neat idea to have, and like it's going to take a lot of willpower to not just go and buy them. I say willpower, Laura not punching me in the head, to not go and buy all of these and just have them and look at them.
I'm now looking at that work in progress version of Lucatiel, and my heart is falling out of my chest, sir. What a pose.
Isn't it good? Speaking of hearts in chests, they also put together another expansion. Now, this is a main game expansion. You don't need the specific tiles to run it. You can run it on the same stuff you've got. And this is a full expansion in the same vein as the Iron Keep and the core expansion for an extra £35. I didn't get this one, but I know a lot of people that did, and I'm very tempted in the future. The Darkroot Basin expansion. The Darkroot Basin expansion comes with some Stone Knights, who they, in the picture, have rather hilariously got them doing the kind of the shrug emote, which is amazing. You've got the Stone Guardians, which are the ones from the DLC, the big guys with the axes that can fuck you up.
Woodward.
A Mushroom Parent with Child.
Cool.
And I hope that their attack is 10 damage, you can't defend it, because that would be perfect. There's 2 of the Demonic Foliage, which are the tree bastards that you meet when you first go into Darkroot.
Yeah.
3 of the Shears Scarecrows, and 3 of the Plows Scarecrows from the DLC.
I love those Shear boys.
Yeah, and then boss models. Oh, it's only Artorias and Sif.
No! And
Yeah.
you didn't get this one.
I decided I was going to get one bonus.
Oh, Patrick.
Well, no, this is... Do you know why? Because they said you're going to be able to buy all this at retail, so it's not... You haven't got to just like, oh, God, I need to buy this or I'm never going to see it again. These are going to be in shops. These will be purchasable.
Otherwise...
I hope.
Otherwise...
Because I need it.
Yeah.
Like, I need it. But yeah, I decided to kind of limit myself to just the one bonus, and I thought, well, Gaping Dragon is my boy. I do need him. I fell in love with the picture the second I saw it. I was like, well, that's got to happen, but the next one I get will be the Darkroot Basin. I know a lot of people who have gone for that one as their thing, and I don't blame them because there's a shitload of stuff in there.
Yeah.
And then finally, the most exciting add-on you can buy, for £15, this is 9 double-sided tiles to play the game on. What?
Go on.
You're speechless, aren't you?
I am.
You can't.
I am.
No reply.
I'm speechless with kind of idiocy on the world of board games.
But there's more.
Oh, okay.
There's more. So, in the retailer pledges, for the retailer pledges, £200, they get you like six copies of the game to sell.
Yeah, I
at
remember you
retail.
saying, yeah.
And there were retailer-specific unlocks. Now, these would unlock when a certain amount of retailers had, like stretch goals, but when retailers had done it.
Okay.
And these are going to be expansion packs you can buy in shops for retailers.
These are going to fly out, aren't they, as soon as they hit shops?
Boss expansions, mate. Right? First one, Last Giant. Third one, Executioner's Chariot.
Okay.
Second one, Mana's Father of the Abyss.
No, the Last Giant's the big one for me, obviously.
Yeah, but mate, like it's a joke. It is a joke how
nice,
how much stuff came out of this. And because they went so far and beyond, like I don't think 2 days in they're like, shit, we've got to think of some stuff. What else can we put? Guys, it's gone.
It's really cool though, and especially given that you know, on the Eurogamer piece, they just loved it. They said it was fantastic, and Johnny was saying how it was like the boss battle encounters. He was saying were the surprisingly close to like what it's like to fight somebody in a video game. He says it's really good.
It is. So that was that nearly half an hour about plastic things you can get, because that is it's a joke how much stuff you can get. But so we've talked about what you get in the box, but we've not talked about how to play it, have we?
Okay.
Let me give you the easy version, all right? I'll give you the quick version. So, the way it works, it's the category is a quick setup and long reveal type game. So, you set the boards up, you put some cards down, and that takes about, probably, once you've got your characters all set up, probably about 15 minutes to get it all set up, ready to go. And then the meat of it is then moving through the world and basically kind of, finding out what's in every room as you go through. Okay? Quick setup, long reveal. The way you go is you go through the game, fight a mini-boss. If you beat that, you can then reset the board and then go fight a main boss. So you don't go straight to Ornstein and Smough. You have to go through a Belfry Gargoyle or a Titanite Demon. You can choose what you want to do. It makes no difference. You can choose whichever one you want to fight in whichever order you want to fight. Like, it's up to you. So how it works, you set up your game, you pick your character. I started with the Warrior. I initially played it by myself because it works for 1 to 4 players, which is excellent.
Oh, cool.
I picked the Warrior to start with, and it gives you a bonus at the start if you're on your own. It gives you 16 souls to spend to level up your character, to find more treasure, to basically pump yourself up a little bit because you're going to be numero uno for the entire game. So you pick your character, you maybe get yourself a bit of extra gear if you can afford it. If you're playing as a team, then you just get on with it. And then you move into your first room. So when you move into a room, it is made of nodes. So on the tile is a bunch of dots. About 15 dots in a little grid. And the way you move around is you can just move from dot to dot to dot to attack. So it's all node based. So you kind of move from a node to another node to attack someone on this node. They push you off. You bump onto another node. You bump someone off that node. It's nodes. It's easy. Really, really simple to get. Once you understand what it wants from you, it's like takes 2 seconds to work out how it actually all comes together. As you move around, you need to use tactical considerations. There will be traps on the floor, there will be chests to open, there will be barrels to avoid, and gravestones, and enemies scattered around the map. The way it keeps it random is that each tile that makes up the board, you put down 4 tiles next to your bonfire. That's your level to run through, and then you have a boss encounter at the end with you get a little cardboard fog token to put over the last door, which is cute.
Yeah, I like that.
It's really the little things are what's made it. So when you move into a room, each room has an encounter card, okay? And these come based off of what boss you fight. So, for example, the Titanite Demon has 4 icons at the bottom of the thing. You fight 3 easy encounters, 1 medium encounter, and then you fight the boss. So it gives you a setup for how you would run your game. So you move in, you uncover the encounter card. It tells you what's in the room, where the things in the room are, what special things are in there, and if it's got any traps. It's really simple. It has an icon on the card, and then on that icon on the card is what you put on the icon on the tile. So on the red sword, you put a crossbow guy. On the 2 swords, you put 2 archer guys. On the purple sun, you put a chest. It's easy. It's visual, it's simple, and you're done. Like, it takes 2 seconds to set up, and you're done. The way the game actually plays is that, first up, when you move into a room, all the enemies have a go, and then you have a go. And then all the enemies have a go, and then you have a go. If you're playing as more than 1 player, so if you're playing as 2 players, okay, so I'm Bob, and I'm playing with John. Bob and John go in the room. All the enemies have a go. Bob has a go. All the enemies have a go. John has a go. And extrapolate that for 4. So the enemies get 4 turns before you get to attack them sometimes.
Is this where the deaths and returning to your souls kind of?
Yeah, it is. So there's an aggro token that you use to try to track around the board. So whoever's go it is has the aggro token. And the aggro token comes into play when enemies are choosing who they would attack. So sometimes the enemies will pick the nearest person to them. Like the Hulking Hollow, the one with the axe, will go towards the nearest person and try and shove them around. The guys with the crossbows will shoot at the person who's got the aggro token. And that means everyone gets a fair turn at being the one that gets shot at. So it's not just your tank character taking all the hits. You can share around between you. With the deaths, okay, so you will fail every now and again. And the way that the game deals with it is at the bonfire, you have a little dial at the bonfire. And the dial has numbers on it, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. When you play on your own, you start on 5. When you die, you go back to the bonfire and you turn the dial around to 4. You turn the dial around to 3. And when you get to 0 and you've got no sparks left in the bonfire, you're dead and it's over.
Okay.
The more players you have, the less sparks you get. So when you play a 4-player game, you only get 2 sparks. So essentially, you get 3 runs at the game. This means you get less souls from grinding, you get less loot to share between you, but on a single player game, you potentially get more stuff to spend on just you.
Okay. Can you play it on single player and then take your stats for your character and then take it into say if somebody else is playing it on their own in their own home, and they can they then bring their character in and play with you with their stats that they've gotten? Or
No.
Is that me being silly?
You wouldn't, because the way the game plays, basically, when you start a game of Dark Souls, the game. So the game is you start and you beat a mini boss and you beat a main boss, and if you do that, you've beaten the game. So you start at 0 when you start the game, and it's balanced for the players that you have. So if you were to add more players in in the middle point of the game, it wouldn't balance as well, because you'd had more chance to get cooler stuff as a single player than you would if you were 4 players. So as a single player, you go through the whole thing 5 times, or potentially up to 5 times, so you can draw a lot more loot for yourself, and you can spend a lot more souls on leveling yourself up. When there's 4 of you, you kind of have to make them spread around. Like, you don't have your own souls, they kind of go into a pot, and you can then decide between you, well, this character over here could possibly use that rapier we just found, but they need to level up twice. Does anyone else need anything? No? Well, you can have all the souls, you can level up this time, and then next time we go around, if something cool comes up, then we'll decide who gets it next. So, kind of, it's not about kind of saying, oh, well, these 2 souls are mine to spend. It's about pooling your resources and making your whole team stronger rather than just yourself. And we had that. We played a 4-player game, and we had that quite a bit of like saying, right, we found this. Could you use that? Do you want to use the souls right now, or should we save them for later? And do you want to spend it on that? And there's a whole bunch of mechanics in there about, you know, how you level up and how you gain stuff. But essentially, it's about being tactical, thinking about what's best for the whole team, fixing weaknesses in the party, that sort of thing. Just really tactical and simple. So the game's actually based on dice, okay? So enemies have a go, and they'll try and attack you, and you then try and defend. The way you defend is with your either block roll or a resist roll, which is for magic or range damage, or you can try and dodge. If you block, you basically add up the amount of dice you've got on your shield, and the amount of dice you've got on your armour, and the amount of dice you've got on your weapon. You roll those dice, and the amount of numbers that come up is how much of the damage that you blocked. The dice are really chunky and simple, so you've got the black dice, which are the weakest ones, which have 2 sides that have 0, 2 sides that have 1, and 2 sides that have 2 swords. You have blue dice, which have more numbers of swords, and then you get the big, tasty, lovely, chunky orange dice, which have up to 4 swords on each face, which are the good dice. They're the ones you want. They're very tasty dice. So the better you roll, the more you defend. If you want to try and dodge roll, which Laura's assassin's character that she likes using does, how that works is you spend a stamina point and you move and then you try and roll. So you roll 3 dice or 2 dice or however many dice you've got for your dodge roll. And as long as you get the amount of successes that the attack says you need, you dodged out of the way. If you didn't do it, you take the full damage for the attack. So it's a bit risky. It's a bit risk-reward. And that fucked us many, many times when Laura got a bad roll and it all went wrong. But that happened to all of us. Yeah, we all made bad rolls and we all made bad decisions. So the way the actual combat works for you is at the bottom of your character you have a track that has health on one end and stamina on the other end. When you take damage, you put points of health on. When you spend stamina, so to move around, to attack, you put points on from the stamina end. If those two ever meet, you're dead. So if the HP gauge fills all the way to the end, you're dead. If you use all your stamina up, you're dead. If you've taken 5 points of stamina and then you take a hit for 5 points of damage, you're dead. You're dead, you're dead, you're dead. So managing your stamina and your health is really, really important. Getting better equipment means you can take more hits, which means you won't suffer so much damage. You can last a bit longer. And it's just like bloody Dark Souls. It's about managing what you've got, about thinking, right, well, I've got enough stamina to probably deal with taking a hit here, but looking at my armour, I don't think I can take a hit from that guy, so I've got to stay out of his range. But if I do that, then he's going to attack that person who's weaker than I am, so maybe I should take the hit. It's sort of physics maths, but board game maths.
You're using my saying.
I used your words on you.
You reeling me in.
It's literally exactly like it is in Souls. You've got to think, can I, if I do, because each weapon can have multiple attacks, so you've got like a 0 stamina attack, for instance, that will do 2 black dice worth of damage, or you can spend 3 stamina and do a bigger attack that does 3 black dice worth of damage, or 2 black dice plus 1, or 2 black dice with an effect, so it'll attack everything on the same node, or it will push something back. Like, every weapon's got its own moveset, and they're all different, and they all feel unique enough to kind of exist. Not like, oh, there's 18 different swords that all do the same thing. The equipment, the gear they've picked is really, it's clever. Like, there's whips, there's throwing knives, there's fire bombs, there's swords, there's spears, and they kind of, you can't attack with a spear when you're right next to someone. You have to stand back by a bomb. It's got magic spells you can shoot from three spots away, which are like the best range thing you've got. You've got bows and arrows. You've got all sorts, man. It's ridiculous how much stuff there is to kind of customize your character with and make your build, in a sense, work. and you're doing your build fresh every time you play. So you're kind of thinking, right, what do I want to do this time? And you'll kind of build it up based on what comes out of the treasure deck. So you spend your souls on unpacking treasure from the deck. You're like, oh, that's an interesting sword. Maybe I'll work up to that. Or, oh, that armor looks good. I'll spend the stat requirements to use that. So essentially, you're leveling up your character to be able to use the cool things that you find, like the game. The cool thing as well, when you've uncovered some treasure, it goes in a little inventory pile. So anyone playing can use anything from the inventory if you've got the stats for it. Mm-hmm. So it's not like you got that treasure, that's for you now. No one else can have this treasure. They actually let you share it between you, so you can make tactical decisions about, well, you've got lots of decks, so maybe you can use this whip, which is better than the sword you've got, and then I'll take your armor off of you, and then they were all stronger. Mm-hmm. It's hard to explain without visuals, but it's really about just looking at your team, and it's just yourself, thinking, right, what do I need to be to wield the best stuff that I've got? Can I get there reasonably now, or will I need to level up a little bit? So it's really like simple is the thing. Once you've got your head around it, all you're doing is moving a boy, rolling to attack, and then hoping you survive long enough to do it again. It's about positioning. It's about stamina management. It's about making sure you got the right gear. It's like Dark Souls, man. It is like Dark Souls. So that's the main game. So you move through the rooms and you might die a couple of times. If you die, then all the souls in the soul cache that aren't spent go and sit on the point where the last person died, and you've got to go get them again. Which is, that's a simple thing and it works. It's like, oh shit, I've got to do this corpse run, Jesus. And then you beat a boss, and the bosses are different. The bosses are very different, and I love how different these bosses are. So when you meet a boss, you pull out a special tile, either a regular boss, like a mini boss tile, which is 1, or for one of the large bosses, you put down 2, because they're generally more mobile and will fly around a bit more. And the bosses now deal with a behaviour deck. So they're bigger tokens, they have facing, so each boss will have a front, a back, a left and a right, and these are marked on the mini as well. And then they will have a behaviour deck. Now what the behaviour deck has is a series of attacks, and you'll read on the card, like, their behaviour deck has 4 cards, so you'll shuffle the card, you'll pick 4, and that will be what the boss will do this time. So on the first turn, you flip over the top card, and it might be, say the gargoyle will do a tail sweep, which means it moves towards the nearest player, and it attacks everything in front of it. And that'll happen. Then you have a go, and then the gargoyle's next turn, you'll flip over the next card, and it'll be electric breath or fire breath, and it'll then back away from the nearest player and then do fire breath on everything on its front and its right hand side, but its left hand side will be weak. So if you can get someone to the left hand side, you can attack there and do a bit more damage. This progresses through until you've used up all the cards of the behaviour deck. When they're done, so when you've spent all 4 of their actions, you flip the deck back over without shuffling it. So they do the same 4 attacks or 5 attacks or whatever again, and they'll stick to their behaviour. So you have to learn and predict what's coming and think, right, well, his next move is going to be the lightning, so I want to be out of the way of that. If you can remember correctly what it is and think, right, well, I need to get back there, and that's going to be, he's going to do his tail sweep there, so that means I need to be on his right hand side for that. And essentially you're learning a boss when you play. Like, it is exactly like Souls. You have to kind of watch it for a bit, see what it does, and then use that knowledge.
Yes. Suss it and then try and take
advantage. Suss it out and have a pop. And sometimes they'll catch you out. Sometimes you'll be like, oh, fuck. In Ornstein's Smo's deck, one of Ornstein's cards jumps to where you are, and you're like, oh, piss bollocks.
It's cool, though, that they've got that level of minutiae in there. That there's that level of finesse of saying, right, this is what the character's like in the game. How can we apply that to the board game and sort of, synchronise
And
it?
there is such a care taken to make sure that every boss feels different as well. Like, you're not just fighting a regular enemy with more health. They have their own behaviours. They'll do things differently. Ornstein and Smo's, for instance, is they tend to bounce around. One will attack hard and the other one will back off. On their behaviour deck, you turn over one card and it has, first Ornstein does this, then Smo does this. So they'll be like covering each other and backing in and backing out, or like the gargoyle, for instance, kind of tends to hop around quite a bit and do big sweeps of his tail. The Titanite demon has got a lovely lightning shot that absolutely fucked me up the first time I tried to fight him. Because who needs magic defense? Oh yes, that's true. So every boss feels different, and every boss that we faced so far has felt like its own kind of unique challenge. But an interesting thing happens when you've defeated a boss a certain way. So when you've taken about half their health off, they will hit their heat up point. So in Dark Souls 3, when you're fighting a boss and then they get all aggro halfway through, that. So you will take a card from their heat up behaviours. There'll be 2 or 3 of these. Pick one at random, chuck it in the deck, shuffle the deck, and then you basically start again. So now they'll be unpredictable. There'll be new moves in there somewhere, and the new move is usually a really good move. Like, it will not go well for you if you don't roll good. And it kind of, again, it's like, okay, so now I've got halfway. Oh, crap, now he's going to start doing electric flying breath. Oh, shit. In Ornstein and Smo, the way that this translates is that you fight until one of them is dead, and then the other one gets an extra 15 hit points back, and you then draw a different set of cards to fight with that one. So Smo's attack, like his bonsai drop, becomes the electric bonsai drop. Or Ornstein's attacks become stronger and more physical because he's bigger. And they feel like they should. And bosses will have their own ability, like the Gargoyle, for instance. When you hit the midway point on that one, he gets a special power or ability where aerial onslaught. So if you attack him from right up close, it'll cost you an extra stamina to attack because he's flapping around like crazy. It's harder to attack him when he's like that. The Titanite demon is made of Titanite, so it has one more defense all the time because it's tough. It's really good. Like, it's really good. And when you beat that boss for that first time, you feel like a fucking king. Like, the first run I did by myself with this warrior, which is, the barbarian character. And I was on my last spark. I was on my last go, and I beat the Titanite demon by myself. And I got up from the table and I whooped. Because Laura was away that night. She was off, and I was just sat there by myself. So I literally spent my entire night sat there quietly in the kitchen for 4 hours playing a board game by myself. And it was astounding. I had such a good time. And I'm glad I did that because it meant I could learn the game to show other people.
So is there kind of a level of being able to finish it, or do you stop when you've done kind of the final boss that you've got?
Yeah, so when you've you beat the mini boss, for example, in my case was the Titanite demon. You beat your mini boss, and then you basically reset the board. So you take all the tiles away, chuck everything away, draw the mega boss cards, for example, Ornstein and Smo, and that'll say, right, there are 3 medium encounters and 1 really hard one. You're like, okay. So you set your board up like that instead, and then once you've beaten the main boss, you've done it. You've beaten the game, or you've beaten this version of the game that you've chosen to play. You can mix up the bosses whichever way you want, so you might decide, well, today we're going to do the Winged Knight, and then after we've done him, we'll do the Dancer. It's entirely up to you, which order you do the mini and the mega boss, and the fact that the extra ones are coming, like the Pursuer and Sir Alon and the Smelter Demon are coming, will give you a nice extra bit of depth to kind of think, right, we're going to do Dark Souls 2 bosses today. I think, let's do that today.
Which is your favourite boss thus far? Is it
to fight?
Yeah.
In terms of the actual mini, it's either the Belfry Gargoyle or the Titanite Demon because they are absolutely stunning. They look perfect. In terms of to fight, I did like fighting on Ornstein and Smo because it was difficult, but it actually I felt like it was surmountable. I didn't do it on my maiden attempt at the game. But I got to them on my first run on one game, and the way it leveled out in the end is that my run to Ornstein and Smo, I had to get through a room with 6 Silver Knights in it, with just my own boy. The next room had 2 Giant Sentinels, and then it was Ornstein and Smo. I made an Orlando by accident, and it's like this is dead on. This is what I've got to do to get through. And like when I got through and got to Ornstein and Smo, I was doing all right. I got down to just Ornstein, and I was like, yes, I'm fucking doing it. And then he did some electric bullshit, which killed me. Electric bullshit, man. It just constant electric bullshit. But it felt like a Souls board game should feel. Like it was that edge of the seat, kind of like, this is really tough, but it's not punishing, it's challenging. Like, I can think my way around this, and with some lucky rolls of the dice and some clever movement, I might just be able to do this. And again, with 4 players, if you're co-oping strategies and trying to see things other people don't see, like, well, I'm going to move here. Well, no, don't move there, because if you move there, then that guy will see you next. Then he'll hit you, and you haven't got the health left to even take that hit. So you go there, and I'll take that hit for you. And then on the next turn, you can heal up, and then you go that way. Like, it's really, like, back and forward, the way that you kind of fight these things. There's a real flow to the combat. It's really mobile as well. You're constantly moving your bits around the board, and it's not like I'm going to sit in the corner and stab with my sword. Like, every enemy is kind of moving and shifting, and you've got to be hopping around the board to kind of most effectively attack the crossbow guys who will move away from you, compared to the crossbow, or compared to the axe guys who will move directly towards you and knock you about. So you're constantly kind of trying to balance off, where do I go now? Where do I go now? It's just so well put together. like, it feels good to play. And I was able to show Laura how to play it in about, 20 minutes? Would you say?
What?
Dark Souls board game. About 20 minutes? You were able to understand most of the rules?
Really?
Yeah. And then we had friends come over there, and we played it 4-player as well. And within 20 minutes, we all knew what we were doing. It took me 2 hours at first to learn, like, go through the manual and work it out. But once you've got it, it's not that friggin' hard, man.
Outstanding.
Yeah, and even like the way it differs between the player amounts as well. So I've played it now 1-player, 2-player, and 4-player as well. So on 1-player, my strategy was to make myself as tough as possible. You're always going to be aggro, so enemies are always going to go for you. So like my priority was survivability. Making sure I had good defenses, good shield, good armor, making sure I could do damage quickly as well, because the faster you damage your guys, the faster you can get them off the board and they're not attacking you anymore. So that was my priority there, and obviously, placement was really important as a single player as well, because if you could keep out of range of some of the enemies, you were fine, like they couldn't touch you. As 2-player, it's more about aggro tag, so you take turns being the one that the enemy hates. More tactical level ups considerations, because you've got to balance between you, like, well, I want to use that whip, but I want to use that armor, so do you want to take the whip first, and I'll take the armor the next time, and then hopefully we'll survive long enough that we can then afford that as well. And well, you do that, you can have this Titanite shard to make your weapon do more damage, and then I'll take the ring, which gives me more stamina, and then we're all square. Again, placement is a different kind of important, so you're constantly trying to kind of back and forward between you and make sure the enemies are aggroing the right person at the right time. And then with 4-player, that kind of goes up again. You're actually shifting your focus with the aggro. The enemies are all over the place. You kind of focus more into a role when you play 4-player, as opposed to playing with just 2 of you. When there's 4-player, we did settle into the role of, I was the knight, I was the tank, I was the one who would be up for taking the big hit. Lauren was the heavy hitter. She was the warrior, so she was the one who'd get in and just fucking muller the biggest thing in the room. Laura was our ranged attacker. She was the assassin, and she had magic spells and whips, so she could attack from range and do people damage from miles away. James was our support character. He was our herald, so he could give stamina back to other characters and draw the aggro away from enemies that were closing on someone who needed it. It was really clever, and the way it kind of bunked out is that it felt balanced. It didn't feel like any of us were useless. Me and Laura played a game where it was her was the assassin, I was the herald, which is the kind of stamina regenning one, but we weren't finding it quite as good. Because I don't think that the Herald is balanced as well for a 2-player game. I think the Herald is a good 4-player character, but in a 2-player game, you've got to be two powerhouses compared to one powerhouse and one who's there just to help you get a little bit stronger. Okay. It's again one missed movement. We had it a few times where we think, all right, I'm going to move there and take the aggro off of you, so I'll be fine. But on the next turn, like, oh wait, that enemy moves in and he moves me, doesn't he? But then that means he's going to attack. Oh fuck, we're all dead. And you still make the roll, even though you're going to die, whatever you do. But it feels like Dark Souls, man.
That's really cool.
It feels right. And I've run out of notes now.
No, that's really sweet. So I mean, it's giving people a detailed idea of don't know what moves you about the regular game and the finesse and the detailing that they've put into the translation, which sounds like it must have been a labour of love for the people behind it. There's
absolutely.
No way it's not been, especially from what you said about the increase of the extra stuff that was added for no extra cost, and then the further expansions that come in, and it just sounds belting.
It's mental how much stuff is still to come, and I'm so excited to get my next box of boys.
Well, if I ever leave my house and jump on a train and come and see you, I'll have to do like a super game with me, you, Sean, and stuff.
It'll be amazing, and you will not understand it.
What, me leaving the house? I know.
That's the one.
It's hard for me to do at the best of times.
What is this yellow orb? It sears my flesh.
Should I praise it, or should I just go home?
I'm praising it, but I'm slightly on fire.
Yeah.
Oh. So yeah, man, Dark Souls board game. Like the Kickstarter was ridiculous. I think Steam 4 Games have done a wonderful job. Don't believe the Kickstarter comments. Do not look in the comments section. It is utter poison.
Why are people being poisonous about it?
Do you know? Okay, so when the game started delivering, so like on Monday when Sean got his, I didn't have mine.
Yeah.
Other people online didn't have theirs yet either in the UK. Steam Forge Games have lied to us. They could never deliver this. My pledge isn't going to go through. They are getting it out on bad timing, and they're not doing this and that. Mate, it's like the worst bit, like IGN comments.
Like say no more. You've just added perfect context.
Yeah, it's that, and I think I don't know whether it's just because people are being piss baby about this on its own, or I don't know if other board game Kickstarters had the same problem of people going, no. But like as a crossover piece, like I worry that IGN people have come here.
Is there any kind of contrast to those comments, like with people that are really pleased with it? And
yes,
there must be, surely. Hopefully,
thankfully there is. Yeah. Unfortunately, for when I was looking, when it was like release week and people hadn't got their game, it was like 1 in every 8 was nice and constructive, and people asking, so I've got this character, but how does this particular rule work? If I move and then push, does it push then move, or does it push and attack? What happens? And just people kind of chatting and clarifying rules and things.
Oh, so people were helping one another out rather than sort of Steamforge sort of jumping in and
trying
to be honest, curate the comments a little bit.
The Kickstarter comment page, the comment page on their Kickstarter, again, this is a year old now, but it's up to 88,000.
That's nearly as big as that section I had on Polygon.
That was, yeah, just one or two off, isn't it? At this point,
just 87,000 more.
Yeah,
yeah.
But yeah, man, it's good, man. It's really, really, really good, and I really want you to have a go at it because I think you will I think you'll see the figures. I'm glad the figures are plastic because you will drool when you see them.
Cool. Well, as and when sort of I come and see you next. We'll do something. You can show me some other games, some other board game stuff, and yeah, cool.
I've got another £100 board game coming as well. We were a bit weak the other day.
Yeah, but it's not as if you're not going to play it and enjoy it. So
nah. It's got a world map, and you put stickers on it as you uncover stuff.
Say no more, sir. Sold.
It's called. What a great name, Gloomhaven. What a great name for a game.
Did you ever go for that? Was it a Bloodborne card game?
I didn't. No, that wasn't Kickstarter. That just came out a normal game, which is very unusual for a board game these days to just come out without any Kickstarter.
Because isn't that supposed to be alright as well?
It's supposed to be decent. It's like a deck building game, which is in the same thing as, I think it's called Dominion, where you kind of start with a hand of cards and you can then sort of spend the value on those cards to buy better cards, and then you kind of add up the ones that have attack and draw your hand, and hopefully you get a good hand and you get a card that means you can draw another card.
I'm sure somebody mentioned that had gone on sale recently, and
it was on Amazon US for about $25, which would have been like definitely yes, buy me money, but it was on Amazon US, and it was still like £50 on the UK one. I was like, I can wait.
Yeah, but you can't.
And that was the same week the Dark Souls board game was coming. I was like, I'll wait. I don't need another board game right now.
I was going to say, it can't be that much to ship a card game from the US, surely.
These boxes are big.
What, even for a card game?
Oh, you'd be surprised.
Really?
I have the Pathfinder adventure card game.
Oh, it is a big box. You're right. Actually, I'll just to colour this in. It's £25 on the English Amazon as well.
What?
Yeah. I'm looking at it now.
And spent. There we go. Oh well, shit. Okay, maybe I'll have to have a look in a minute then. Bollocks.
Do it, because I think
we just bought another board game, Laura.
Oh, fuck off.
I hope
magical
the
shimmering
picked up
words
that.
there.
I
of
hope
encouragement.
The picked that up.
But yeah, it's a little bit different for the show to do this. Plus, it's as much as we know folks that like Dark Souls, we know a huge amount of folks that like Bloodborne as well. So I think it'd be good for you, especially knowing how much you like Bloodborne. It'd be good for you to kind of. Plus, you like card games a hell of a lot.
I like everything about this whole thing that's happening at the moment. Board games and card games and Souls games. Like, yeah.
Oh, it is being sold from the USA, so it's $25.94 plus $14.23 UK delivery.
Well, £40 makes it less good, but it is very pretty. I mean, those cards look nice.
Isn't that still like a tenner cheaper than it is in the UK though?
Yeah.
Still, I think this would be good. Wow, the reviews are amazing for it.
Can you see what they've got? It seems like you have an insight dial. So you turn it that says how much insight you've got, and you spin the dial and more numbers. Oh
my god, there's a lot in there.
They've got a card that's got Rom the Vacuous Spider's face on it.
Oh mate, that looks really good.
Oh, bollocks.
Scourge Beast card. There's lots. Oh, the cards are really pretty. You're going to get this. You know you're going to get this. This is... Do it.
I had shit to do, man.
Do it. for the show. Peer pressure.
Oh, whoops!
No, you should do it because, like I say, this is different. I've got some stuff prepped for this show, but we'll take this to the next because I'd like this show to stand on its own. But I think
tell you what, I'd buy that game and then just like put the cards in a frame and just look at them.
Well,
just look at them. We've done that with cards. I've done that with cards. Laura bought some Batman trading cards from the 60s from a shop a while ago, and we framed them, and they're dumb as shit. Remember that time Batman and Robin surfed after a robber with 2 swag bags who was also on a surfboard?
Have you seen that? There's an Adam West documentary on Netflix.
I've watched it. It's amazing.
It's like, yeah, it's really good. And when he was talking about like the screenwriters, they were all saying like, we knew what we were doing, and they weren't sort of just trying to like, crap things out. They were enjoying being surreal and being bizarre, and I think you can kind of forget how, I don't know how that was appealing to sort of the beatnik audience as much as it was to like young kids and finding kind of a wonderful common ground between the two. I'm looking at this, the way that this is set out, the card game, and like the second picture in Amazon, and you can just imagine like a group of people sort of around playing Bloodborne with card games. You've got to get this. I'd really like you to do another show with another sort of Souls-based card game, board game in there. You should do this because I think you definitely play it and you definitely love it. You're already drooling at those cards.
But I've spent like 250 quid on board games this year already.
Mate, this is Bloodborne.
It is.
God, it feels like I'm trying to coerce you into Bloodborne.
Peer pressured. Oh, God.
This really is opposite world.
Bizarro land.
You prepped.
I prepped.
Yeah, and now I'm trying to coerce you into Bloodborne.
Oh,
What's going on? Oh,
what's this in my cup to my left? It's coffee.
Oh. Mind you, I did put a tweet out the other day where I was saying like, I've got some really lovely 3 ginger tea. It's ginger as well. Jeez. Join us on the next show when the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse come round to play the Bloodborne card game with Paddy.
I'm actually having a panic attack.
This is rather weird. But yeah, you should 100% get that because I know you'll love it and I know you'll play it. And you're already looking at those cards and kind of slavering.
I can. I'm allowed to now because Laura has just quietly walked over and written a note down because she didn't want to say it out loud. She's going out to get ice cream right now. At 10 to 9 on a Friday evening. Saturday evening.
I've got some giant buttons in the freezer and I'll be having those after this.
Are they for your giant jumper?
No, not those kind of buttons. You silly moo.
Silly Billy.
Silly moo. But yeah, please, I reckon you should definitely get that.
Oh, bollocks, I am, aren't I?
Yeah.
Bollocks.
Do it.
Card game, Laura.
No, you're not.
Oh, sit up.
Join us on next time show. Peer pressure Paddy on Twitter.
Join us on the next show. We just talk about boring video games.
God.
That aren't made of card and have lovely pictures on them.
You should definitely get that.
I should. We'll be quiet. We'll do it quietly when she's not listening.
Right then.
She is still behind me.
Thanks for joining us, listeners.
Yeah.
See you soon.